In case you didn't know, the Schengen visa application fee is non-refundable, and that's why you need to be super sure about your travel dates, and you need to have everything in place before you start the application process. So that's why you need to be super cautious, you need to be super careful with the money that you're putting in, all of the efforts that are going to go in as well. So before going further, you need to understand the embassy that you should be applying to, and also the top embassies that reject Indian visa applicants. So carefully watch the video till the end. In the end, I've covered the top reasons of rejection, and make sure that you're not one of those making those mistakes. And Europeans are really particular about everything. So if things are not in order, you can face a rejection, and even celebrities face rejection. So who are we to be overconfident? The countries with the most rejection rates as of 2024 have been Malta and Estonia, France as well added to the list, and Portugal as well. And the countries that have been kind to the India visa applicants are Iceland, Germany, Spain, and few more as well. Indian applicants lost more than 110 crores in the last year just on visa application rejections, not even on the acceptance, just the rejections. And in my experience, it does take around 10 to 15,000 rupees per application, end to end, including the visa application fees, including the travel insurance and all other documentation that you may need. So step one, starting with your application process, is to make sure that you know the correct embassy that you will be applying to, and the factors depend on which country you are going to land in, and also which country you're going to spend the most time in. So make sure that you research and plan out a little bit before applying, and make sure that you're applying to the right embassy. I have seen someone who was on a tight schedule and had a conference in 10 days, but they applied to the wrong consulate and ended up in a situation where they had to reapply to another embassy. So make sure that you know the embassy that you will be applying to, and also visit the nearest embassy website. So for example, if you are in North India, then perhaps it will be in New Delhi, and if you're in the southern or the western part, it would be in Mumbai, Bangalore, etc. The next step when you know the embassy is that you need to know what waiting times are currently up for the applicants. So some embassies might give you a heads up that they are all booked for the next whole month, for example. So make sure that you know all of these details in advance before getting to the further steps, because if you don't know this, you are going to already be in a problem, and you can face rejection because you're applying at the last moment and you may not get dates for the appointment. Step two that you should do, that is almost, let's say, 2 weeks before you start applying, is that you need to talk to your office if you're employed, and you need to make sure that the dates that you're planning to visit Europe, they are approved by your employer. So you can start already asking for an NOC, which is no objection certificate, for the dates that you're planning to travel. Then based on that, you may at least start to know what is going to be the duration of your stay, and a rough itinerary as well. The next step, once this is in progress, then almost 1.5 weeks before your appointment date, you need to start preparing your bank statements, because for this you may need to go and visit your bank and get your last 6 months of bank statements stamped and signed by them. Be very careful that you're just not getting a printout of all of those bank statements, but you're also getting them stamped and signed. So prepare in advance for that. Then also start preparing the ITR. So let's say almost last 3 years of your income tax returns. Make sure you have a printout of that too. Then some other financial proofs that you would need are your pay slips. So almost 6 months of your pay slips, at least 3 and maximum 6 pay slips you should be attaching to your application. Apart from that, if you have your employment letter or any proof of your employment, which could be an email, which could be a formal email as well, that also works. So make sure that you're compiling all of these. Then almost 1 week before your booking date, you should be starting to fill your visa application form. So make sure that you check whether you can take the paper form or you need to submit it online. It should be written on the embassy website. So check that and start filling it out. And finally, when you know that your form is towards completion, get the dates and book your slot as soon as possible. You can mostly pay in cash, and you can also, if some embassies also give you the option of paying online, so check that and keep all of that ready. So if it needs online payment, make sure that you have a debit card or a credit card which can operate internationally as well, or based on whatever the embassy has suggested you. Then within the 1 week that you have to prepare everything, you have to take care of all of these different items, starting with the flight reservations. Make sure that you do not book a non-refundable flight. Either get a cancelable, fully refundable flight for yourself, or you can also get dummy tickets, which should have a valid PNR, of course, at least till the time of your appointment. Apart from that, you also need accommodation proof as well, which means some booking reservation of the place where you'll be staying. Again, for this one as well, I do not recommend a paid accommodation. I recommend just reserving and and not actually paying for it online. So reservation which shows all of the dates of your stay that you've put in your itinerary, all of that should also exist in a printed format, and you should be able to show those date by date. So if you're showing, let's say, 2 days in one city and 3 days in the other, make sure that your accommodation is actually in line with your plan. Next is going to be the insurance. I usually go to Policy Bazaar and just check, so this is not sponsored, but I usually go to Policy Bazaar and check the relevant travel insurance for myself and get the most affordable and the best coverage one. So you can get that as well. Then finally, the most important but definitely not the least, which is the cover letter and the itinerary. I usually prefer to have one document which has the itinerary as well. So that should be addressed to the embassy, consulate, whoever is the in charge there. And it should have the details about you, your passport, your email ID as well, just in case there are any further documents that they want from you. They should be able to reach you comfortably. So add the details of all of the documents that you've attached, and also add the entire itinerary. Add as much detail as possible. And I've also created a cover letter template. If you want that, you can check the caption. You can use that template for your cover letter as well. And finally, if you're going on a business visa, then you may need some additional documentation, which is office as well, which should explain that the sponsor of your stay is going to be your business partner, or could be your employer, etc. So you have to make sure that you get that mentioned by your employer on a document. If possible, try to add a proof of relationship with your business associate. It could be emails, it could be maybe a contract that you put together. So it could be in any format, but try to present that as well in case it's requested. If you're going for any event or let's say a conference, try to attach the tickets to that event as well. So all of these documents are in addition to the ones that I already mentioned for the tourist visa, and these ones are especially needed if you're going on a business visa. I do have a lot of resources about visa and also about my travel itineraries, etc. that I follow on my Instagram page, so you make sure that you follow that, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel because I continue to share my travel stories and very useful visa information too. Now, some important pointers that you need to take care of during the entire process of this visa application. So you need to make sure that you're applying at least 1 to 3 months in advance. Like, you can apply maximum 3 months in advance, and I suggest minimum 1 month until unless it's an emergency and you have to visit. So make sure that you have at least some buffer time of applying and getting a response from the embassy. Next one is make sure that you show appropriate funds. So usually the embassy website would tell you how much funds are required per day, and make sure that you have that as liquid amount in your bank. And also another point that a lot of people miss out on is having the accommodation for each date. So even upon arrival, you should have that date also in set with accommodation. So make sure that you have all of the dates covered, not just like sporadically dates here and there. Most of the visa application rejections tell that the reason is lack of home ties being shown in the visa application. So make sure that you show that as well. Let's say you have some family that you take care of, or some property, or your job also that you have, any business that you have that requires you to be back in your home country. Make sure that you show at least some ties, some strong ties with your home country, so that you don't face a rejection, because it's a fear of the embassy that somebody will come and immigrate and not go back to their home country. So that is the fear, and that is the prime reason of rejection. So make sure that you do not give that reason to the consulate officer, and cover that in some way in your cover letter as well. I hope you found this video useful. If you still have any questions about your application, you can put them in the comments and I'll try to answer most of them. But I'll see you in another one. Bye-bye.